Welcome to Connecting Your Way to New Business. If there's a person in this room who doesn't need any new business, just let me know now. I have no takers. All right, so then we'll get on with it. I have a question for all of you. Are you wasting your time networking? Do you ever feel like it's a waste of time? Do you ever feel like you go to an event, you meet people, and then nothing happens? Yes. So maybe networking isn't a waste of time, but maybe you're wasting your networking time. So we're going to explore that today and figure out how we can make sure that you get great results from all of the time you spend out networking at conferences, conventions, events like this, chamber events, whatever it is that you're attending. We want to make sure you get the most of it. How many of you feel like this when people rush up at you at an event and try to give their card to you and tell you all about their business? Hi, I'm Alice Heiman. Let me tell you all about how I'm going to help you increase sales. It goes like this. See, first what I do is I just want to run the other way. And this is why a lot of business owners I meet up with tell me they don't like networking. They don't want to go out and network because they feel like people just hand them their business card and then go back to their office and spam them. They link up with them, they Facebook them, they don't even, it's like, I don't even know who you are. They put me on their email list. I'm like, no, thank you. So people don't like to go out networking because of that. And I don't blame them. The other reason people don't like to go out networking is because if people aren't rushing up to you trying to give them the card and tell all about their business, they're standing around talking to their friends. That's not networking. So I want to stop for a minute and ask you, what is it you'd like to learn today? Some of you heard me this morning when I did a short presentation as well. But maybe from that it prompted some questions. So what is it that you'd like to learn in the 45 minutes that we're going to be together this morning?
How to make more money.
All right. Everybody wants to know how to make more money.
The approach to networking, how to approach a person.
Very good. Yes?
In that way, to be effective.
To be effective.
And follow-up. What's the right approach?
What is the right follow-up? Yeah, you kind of tend to want to put them on your email list, but that's not necessarily the best thing to do. So we have to figure out all of those things. Anything else? Yes?
How to decide what networking groups you should go to, because there's so many, and it's just me. And
Right.
I belong to everything and can't get to even half of them.
Absolutely. Okay, just a little bit about me. Some of you know me from just being around town, but maybe you're wondering, how is it that I get to be the one that stands up here and talks to you about networking and sales? I have a long history with sales. I actually started when I was about 3. I was selling my friends things that I didn't need in my room. But then when I was in high school, I actually sold bras at the English Town Auction, which is a very famous, huge flea market on the East Coast where I grew up in New Jersey. So I was fitting bras. So ladies, later, if you have any questions, just come and ask me. I can help you out. Guys, I can tell you how to guess a bra size like that. When I went to college, however, I didn't study sales. I was actually an art major. But then I quickly figured out that I didn't know how I could make a living that way. So I changed my major, and surprisingly enough, it wasn't into business. I was actually a public school teacher for many years before I got into business. And I actually have a master's degree in education, which, believe it or not, all of those years I spent in a classroom with kindergartners, first grades, and elementary school children has helped me tremendously in everything that I do today. In fact, it was one of the things that helped me invent a trademark event that some of you have attended called the Biz Talk Blender. I just thought, what would we do if we were in kindergarten? And it worked. And it's because what I found about people and networking is this. If you give them permission, they will do it. But if they enter a room where they see people standing around talking to their friends, they don't want to be the odd one out. No one ever wants to be the odd one out. They don't want to be the one that's walking up to people and trying to introduce themselves, because in fact people sort of even push away from that. Just like we were talking about, because I don't know if you're going to try to sell me something, when in fact all I want to do is get to know you. But at a lot of networking events, you don't get that opportunity. But I thought, how do I get a bunch of people in a room together and get them to actually talk to the people they don't know? And so I thought, what would we do in kindergarten? And I invented the BizTalk Blender, and it worked. So it's all about permission. So here at Weddings at the West, from now on, I want you to give yourselves permission to meet all the people that you don't know. And of course you should say hi to your friends and the people that you do know, but don't sit with them. Sit with someone you don't know, or sit with a friend and someone that you don't know, and make sure that you get to know each other. So anyway, I have been in sales and networking for many, many years. If you heard me tell the story this morning, I was very ill, and I had to get back to doing business, and I thought, I can't travel all over the country anymore. I need to do business in my own backyard. Surely there are enough businesses in Reno that need to increase sales to support my business, but I couldn't meet any of them. And so that is why I invented the BizTalk Blender. And I realized that people needed to learn how to network, so I developed a whole course on how to network. And I do teach that online as well as in person, because people need to learn how to network. All right, here's what we're going to do this morning. We're going to do 4 things. We are going to help you find the right people. You said, oh my gosh, there's so many networking events. Which one should I go to? Well, it depends who you're trying to find, right? How to prepare. So here's what most people do to prepare for a networking event. They get in their car and they drive there. And then they don't have any business cards with them, young man.
Yes.
How could you go? Stand up. Just let everyone see who you are. Wall of shame.
I poster child for Screw It Up. Yeah.
He told me he didn't mind if I picked on him. He came with no business cards. Well, everybody does know Bill, so it's okay. But for the one person who didn't know him, right, so he's writing on the back of their card, that's okay. So we do need to prepare, and it is more than just bringing business cards. We also need to build relationships, because networking is not about selling. If you try to sell while you're networking, it's like that guy. Get away from me. I just need to know you, like you, and trust you before I can refer you to somebody or before I want to buy anything from you. So that's important. And then secondly, from all this time you're going to invest in networking, how are you going to get the results that you need? Because you're out there for a reason. You need more business. And there's a lot of expensive ways that you could go about trying to get more business. You could advertise in print, you could be on TV, commercials, radio, you could send out direct mail, you could pay somebody to do an extensive social media campaign or extensive PR campaign for you, or you could try doing those things yourself, but they take time and money. But this doesn't take anything but a little time and a little connection to say hello to somebody.
I feel connected.
And it won't cost you much. It won't cost you much. So it's an important thing, but you've got to get results, or why bother doing it? You showed up here today, maybe you learned a few things, but if you got some business too, wow, that'd be fantastic. So again, I say to you, are you wasting time networking? You might be, but more likely you're wasting your networking time. What you're doing before, during, and after a networking event is critically important, and we're going to talk about that today. So your goal, get results. Tell me what results are for you. What results do you want to get out of networking? A referral. A booking. A booking. So what is networking anyway? It's not selling, as I just mentioned. And if people do try to sell with their networking, it doesn't work, and it puts people off. Networking is building relationships with the people who are most likely to buy from you, right? Building relationships so that after this event, they will take your call, and it's no longer a cold call. And just by show of hands, just for fun, how many of you love to take a list and call a bunch of people you don't know? Anybody? Wow, I usually at least have one person in the room. Not one of you likes to cold call. And I don't want you to, because honestly in this day and age it's a very ineffective way to get sales. So I prefer that you go out and connect with people directly. That's what networking is. This is what you're going to get connected for, though. Most people think, I'm just looking for someone who can buy directly from me. Oh, I wonder if she needs any sales training. I'll go talk to her. No. People you can collaborate with. Think about it here now. If you are a photographer, raise your hand if you're a photographer. What might be a good collaboration for you? What other type of business that's here?
Video.
A video, a venue, a DJ. So if you wanted to put on some kind of a program for brides, you would find some people here you could collaborate with to make a very nice program for them. Some kind of educational program. So collaborations are important. People you can develop as a referral source. That's probably the most important thing that I look for when I'm now out networking. Because when I just meet you casually, I have no idea whether you need any help with your sales or not. You know, I know that most companies do, most business owners do, but I can't tell that by just chatting with you casually. So I have to think more about, is this a person who could refer people to me? So who might know a lot of brides? Coordinators. So you might want to develop them as a referral source for you, and I know that a lot of you do. Okay? Let's say you're selling to any kind of small business. You would want to know CPAs, because CPAs work with a lot of small businesses, and they could be a great referral source for you. Sometimes you have to think outside the box just a little bit about who might be a good referral source for you. Maybe it's a dentist. Maybe all brides go get their teeth whitened before their wedding, and so that would be a good referral. I'm just making that up, but you know, I think about it. Brides, people who are getting married always tell their hairdressers, right? So hairdressers could be a great referral source for brides. So you really have to start to think, who knows first? And of course, you're always looking for people that you can do business with. Of course you are. But again, you may not know that. And so if you have an open mind when you're meeting people and you're thinking, how could I help them? How could we collaborate? How could we be a referral source for each other? It's not all about me. It's all about them. How can we work together? So we have to find the right people, don't we? Where are these people hanging out? Now, if they're business owners, some of them aren't, because they don't like to go where people are trying to sell them things or give them cards and spam them. But we've got to find the right people. So we're thinking all the time, where do they go to network? Now, the best way to find that out is to ask them. So you all already have customers. Have you ever said to them, where do you go network? So there's an assignment. I want you to talk to some of your best customers and ask them, where do they go to network? Do they go to the chamber? Do they go to the American Marketing Association meetings? Do they go to the CPA of Nevada meetings? Where do they go to network? Just ask them. Find out. Also, another great question, kind of a little side topic, ask them what they're reading in terms of trade magazines and publications. You want to know where to advertise your business? Ask them what do they read. Then think about other places that unsuspectingly you could meet people that could be a referral source, be great collaborators, or do business directly with you. Professional organizations. How many of you belong to any of these professional organizations? Sherman, this is the Society for Human Resources. Lots of big companies plan events. How many of you do events for big companies also? Okay, several of you. So that might be a good place for you. The Chamber of Commerce. Your own alumni association. Great place to network. And there's other professional organizations like WOW, Weddings of the West, and what other, NACE, right? That's the National Association of Catering Executives. How many of you belong to NACE as well? And then there's another one called SCAL. What does that stand for? It's, I think it's hotel properties and things. So think about the other places that, then think about social and sporting organizations. I happen to sail a boat, and I belong to a yacht club, and I meet amazing people there. Again, I don't walk up to them and tell them all about what I do, but I just get to know them. And then I do somehow, I ask them, what do they do and what about their lives and their business and what their passions, and then they'll just in turn ask me, and then we get to know each other and they know what I do. Remember this morning I said, don't think for 1 minute that your friends and family know what you do. Make sure they know what you do. Tell them and remind them that you're looking for more business. I had someone tell me the other day, oh, I referred my friend to so-and-so because I just thought you were so busy you couldn't take any new clients. Okay, let me decide if I'm too busy to take any new clients, right? But you've got to remind them. Don't, tell them, hey, I'm always looking for new clients. Remind them about what you do. Send them, if you have an email list, ask your family and friends, can I put you on my email list? Because when you know people, maybe you can forward my information to them. PTA, I'll tell you, some of my best customers have come from my son's soccer team, his little league, just from sitting around chatting with parents and, chatting them up, learning about them. And then one day they call me, hey, can you help me out with my business? So good lead source. Nonprofits. How many of you are on the board of a nonprofit of some type? Okay. I highly recommend that you get involved with a nonprofit. If you don't have time to be on a board, maybe be on a committee. But think about something you're really passionate about. If you go to my blog, I wrote an article about volunteering with passion and how that brings good things to you. I don't volunteer because I get more business from it. That's not the reason I do it. But I do get business from my volunteer efforts because it's a way to shine in front of people. You show them what you can do. And they're like, wow, you're really good at that. But also do make sure they know what you do. And again, this morning I was talking about how at the Discovery Museum, everybody knows me, but some of them have no idea how I make a living. So I have to remind myself that occasionally it's okay to let them know how I make a living because they do want to know. They know me, like me, and trust me, and they want to refer me to people. That's okay. Service organizations. Anybody belong to Rotary? Zonta? Star Optimist? All right, great, fabulous. So these are great places to meet people. People there have kids that are getting married or having parties or having anniversaries or having 80th birthday parties, whatever. They can use your services. Go there and get to know them. And if you don't know where to go, it's very simple. Check your local paper, the Northern Nevada Business Weekly. Every week it has a huge page full of different events that you can go to, professional organizations, trainings, all that kind of stuff. Even the Reno Gazette-Journal, and I'm sure the Carson paper, every week they have a place where they list things. So if you want to break out of the norm and get to something, take a look there, or just go look online. Here locally we have gonnahappen.com. Facebook is a wealth of events. LinkedIn has a whole events section that you can look through and find events. All right, we need to prepare ourselves before we go networking. So tell me, what do you do before you go out networking?
Brush my teeth.
Brush your, good one! Brush your teeth. Get your cards. Make sure you have business cards, Bill. What else? Yes? Get a pad of paper, pens. Good.
Dress nicely.
Dress nicely.
Do a little research to see if you know who's going to be there so you can use your time wisely.
Yes.
And connect with those that you hope to get something out of.
Absolutely. So you've named most of the things, but I want you to take note of this right now because before you go to the next networking event and every time before you go, I want you to do these things, okay? Do your research. Who's the speaker? What kind of people attend? Who are they? Get online and do that, or just pick up the phone and call the membership person, the president of the organization, whatever. If you call Vicki, she'd be happy to tell you all about Weddings of the West. These people love to talk to you and tell you about their events. If it's a conference, do the same thing. Don't be afraid. Call people up and ask them questions. Don't just sign up for a conference and go. Don't just sign up for an event and go. Do some research. It's good because it also gives you some things to talk about. Oh, have you heard the speaker before? I heard she's really good. I heard, blah, blah, blah. So when you're trying to talk to people you've never met before, it gives you something to chat about. So do your research. And then ask yourself, why am I going? Why am I going to this event? It's not because you don't have anything else to do. I can guarantee you that. Why are you going? What do you hope to get out of that? What is your goal? Now, you don't want to do speed networking, so make sure that you take time to meet a few new people, but don't rush through. You think you're going to meet 10 new people, I'm going to tell you, you probably won't. You'll meet 3 to 5 new people, and that'll be fantastic. But you got to go again and again, so you meet 3 to 5 new people every time, and soon you know everybody at Weddings of the West or whatever event that you're going to. Think, like you said, who do you want to meet? There are people there that you might want to meet. If you don't know, not sure what they look like, of course now you can look on social media a lot of times and find out what they look like, so you can go right up to them. But then just call somebody and say, hey, you know, I've always wanted to meet Daisy Gonzalez. Oh, I know her. I'll introduce you when you get here. No problem. Okay? Now here's the one that I'm going to see if there's anyone in the room who does this. You schedule the event on your calendar. Do you schedule the follow-up time on your calendar? Yes. I have a couple people who do it. Fantastic. The rest of you, start it. If you don't do anything else but this, after leaving here, you will get better results from your networking. Because what happens is you come here today, and then tomorrow, because you've been out of the office all day, you're swamped, right? But if you had thought ahead to put the time on your calendar, a 1 or 2 hour block, today or tomorrow, after this event, and know that you're going to sit down and work on that. You take the business cards, go through them, hook up with people on social media, send them a nice to meet you note, whatever you're going to do. But you'll have time to do it, because otherwise, those cards will sit on your desk and do what? Collect dust. And when you do finally get to that pile, you'll be like, who is this person? How did I meet them? I don't know. And they go right in the trash bin. Because there's nothing you can do at that point. You can't possibly remember who they are. So it's important to schedule the follow-up time. That's going to make the biggest difference for you with your networking if you have time to do appropriate follow-up. And some of these organizations, you can get the list, and even if you didn't meet the person, you can send a note. Hey, I was at Weddings of the West, and I didn't get a chance to meet you, but I wanted to, so can we hook up for coffee? So you can still communicate with them, even if you didn't actually meet them at the event. Important, especially with Eventbrite. A lot of people use Eventbrite or Evites now. You can see who's coming. And also in your preparation, when you see who's coming, I a lot of times will Facebook or LinkedIn or email them and say, hey, I see we're both going to be at Weddings of the West or whatever organization we're going to, and we've never met before, and I'd love to hook up with you there. So I actually pre-arrange some of those meetings by looking at those event lists. I love that they do that now. It's the same on Facebook and LinkedIn and any of these Evite type of things. You can see who's coming. All right, dress for success. I don't need to say too much about that, except that don't forget, when you feel like $1 million, you're not afraid to stick your hand out and say hello to someone. You feel good, you look good, right? It's way easier to meet people when you are feeling your best. So don't overlook that. You know, you wake up in the morning and you know that you're going to be at work all day, but then you're going to head to an event afterwards. Go ahead and think about what you're going to wear, because you have to wear that all day and to the event. So, or change your clothes if you want to. But think about what you're going to wear to that event. If you don't know what to wear, it's, again, really simple. Give somebody a call and just ask them. What do people typically wear to this event? I mean, here's the thing. You know, when I'm in Silicon Valley with all of my startup buddies, I'm almost overdressed right now. So I have to be careful. I was working with a startup in San Francisco, and it was about 10 years ago, and I just didn't really realize, because I was used to working with a lot of big corporations, and I came there in a blue suit. I looked so silly. It was hilarious. I mean, then they used to make fun of me after they got to know, oh, the consultants are coming, because they were wearing jeans with holes in them and a t-shirt. So different organizations wear different things when they network. If I go where there's a lot of attorneys and CPAs, I need to dress up a little bit more. Ladies, it's a little easier for us. We can sort of do an in-between. But guys, if you're wearing jeans and everybody else there is wearing a suit, you know, they do look at you. They do. It's true. So it's easier to approach people who kind of look and feel like we do. And so you know, I want you to be individual. I'm not saying to cast off your individuality, but I'm saying if you're going to network somewhere for the very first time, think about what you're wearing a little bit more than just, think about what it is. And if you have a name tag, I don't have mine on right now, but how many of you, I see a lot of you have really nicely made up name tags from your company. They have your company logo on them and they have your name clearly printed. I read some research that they did some research, you're like 90% more approachable when you actually have a name badge on. Any kind of name badge. But those sticky ones, they don't stay on very well. And if you handwrite it yourself and your handwriting's not so great. So I would say just go pay the $5 or $10 to get a nice badge with a magnet and wear that. I think it's just going to do a world of good for you. Yeah, digging in your yes?
Why are you saying wear your name tag on the right side? I always wear mine on the left.
Okay, I always wear mine on the right because when I reach to shake hands, the eye goes right to that shoulder. And so you give them a better chance of remembering your name.
I don't know. I mean, when I did it here, I just
Yeah, that's okay. I always wear it on the right. And that's just for that reason. It just gives me a better opportunity to see their name tag. But either way, you can lose a lot of credibility digging for business cards. I don't need to say any more about that. Have them handy. Have a pen handy as well, because you might not remember who the person is unless you jot a little note down. And then how many business cards should you bring? You never have enough, do you? Never have enough, right? So I always think to myself, all right, let's see. If it's something where we're going to eat also, there'll be 8 people at the table. So I'll want to have at least 7 business cards for them. And then somebody might say, oh, can I have your card to give to my friends? So I want to, so double that. And then I might need 5 or 6 new people. So anyway, I just don't go out without less than 30 business cards. If you have at least 30 business cards, you're going to be fine. Put them in your pocket, put them in your purse, keep some in your car so you could run out to the car if you run out. I keep them in my briefcase, I keep them in my pockets. I send them to the dry cleaners all the time. I send business cards to the dry cleaner. But better than not having any, Bill. So do think about that before. I mean, raise your hand if you've ever run out and oh no, I don't have my business cards with me, right? Everybody's done it. Yeah.
Do you think it's important to put your picture on it?
It's a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to put my picture on my business card because that's what realtors do. But you know what? With social media the way it is now, and if you want people to remember you, why not put your photo on there? What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. My card has my photo on it.
Your blue suit.
So there you go.
Can I put your photo on my card?
Sure. Not a problem. All right, moving right along, Larry. Our job when we're networking is to build relationships. How do we build relationships? Well, we have to get people to like us, right? Get a little rapport going. People like you when you listen. Right? Don't you like to be listened to? We all like to be listened to. And if we listen to them for a few minutes, sooner or later, they're going to look at us and go, enough about me, what about you?
That doesn't happen sometimes.
Sadly, it's
Some people are
true.
so aggressive.
Sadly, yes. And you know what I do with those people? I just say, oh gosh, really nice to meet you. Gotta go. No, that's a tough one. It is, you're right. But just don't be one of those people. Be the listener. And try again, as we said earlier, to meet new people. Don't just sit down with the people you know. Banks are notorious for this. We go to a networking event or, professional development or whatever. So there's some networking, then we sit down and listen to a speaker, that kind of thing. The entire bank sits together at a table. And I usually walk up to them and I say, hey. And they look and they're like, oh, she's here. Because everybody knows I'm going to give them a bad time about networking. I go, did you guys not see each other at work today? Why would you have the opportunity, there's 8 tables and there's 8 of you. Right? Especially big companies, spread out, get to know people, right? I know that for some of you, this is not easy. Raise your hand if you feel like you're just a little bit shy. And raise your hand if you don't mind walking into a room full of 100 people you don't know, right? So we're on both ends of it. I want you to do that again. A little bit shy. Don't mind walking into a room of 100 people. Shy people, find one of those people. I'm serious. I have clients who are like, can I go networking with you? Because they know what I will do. I will take them around to meet everybody that I know. And they love it because they wouldn't do it themselves. So help each other out. You're all in this organization together. You collaborate together. You work together. Call each other. Hey, are you going? So I know I've heard some of my clients complain about another organization that you all will know, that the people there don't really let them in. You know, they stand around and talk to their friends. Don't do that. Bring people with you and introduce them. And if you are shy, you can, and you don't know an outgoing person like me to go with you, and you don't know anybody at the event, but you really want to go because you think those are the people I need to meet there, right? Call them up and say, hi, I've never been to your event. Could you have someone meet me at the registration table and introduce me to some of your members? How easy is that? And yet, do you do it? Probably not. So think about that. You can go anywhere you want because you can call ahead and get someone to meet you and introduce you. And it's so easy to meet people when someone's introducing you. And it gives you a reason to talk to them. It gives you a reason to talk about your business because they're asking, oh, so-and-so, this is so-and-so. No, nice to meet you. What do you do? It's so easy. But if you don't have anyone to introduce you, and I think someone asked me about how do you approach people that you don't know? Well, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. The first thing I always do is look for people who are standing all by themselves. And there are always people at an event that are because they're shy or they don't know what to do either. So go rescue them. Go talk to them and then say, hey, let's go meet people together, right? Work with them, work the room together. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing, like when I see people all standing in a group together, chatting, you know, like that, I'll kind of look around, I'll kind of size up the room, find a group that's not too big. I don't want to barge into a big group. I'll barge into a smaller group. I pick like a 3 or 4. I never pick a pair, though, because if those two are just talking to each other, you know, it could be something, you know. But 3 or 4, no big deal. So I'll look around, I'll catch someone's eye that's in the group, smile, and just start to walk towards them. And it's amazing. The group opens right up. They open right up and let you in. It's just amazing. Well, Larry would, right? So when you do get into the group, stand there for a minute and listen before you start talking so that you can catch on with the conversation. And when they give you the opportunity to say, hi, I'm Alice, I've never been here before. Thanks for letting me into your group. Or something like that. If you do walk up to someone that's standing by themselves, strike up a conversation by asking questions versus talking about yourself. Much easier to ask questions than talk about yourself. And what kinds of things you should ask depends on where you are and who the people are. So in your preparation, you find out, well, are there a bunch of mothers of the bride here? If there is a bunch of mothers of the bride, then I want to talk mothers of the bride language, and I want to ask mother of the bride questions, right? If there are a bunch of DJs here and I'm trying to figure out how to do something with them, I want to talk DJ language. So think about the question, you know, how long have you been in the wedding business? You know, why did you decide to get into the wedding business? What do you love about the wedding business? Those are the kinds of questions you want to think about to ask other people at WOW. But if you're somewhere else, you'll want to think of other types of questions, you know? So the preparation helps you be able to strike up a conversation and not be so nervous about it because you're ready. You have something. Or you can say, oh, are you a member? Have you been here before? Have you ever heard this speaker before? But prepare so you can strike it up. And again, just one more time, sit with someone that you don't know. And be the person at the table who says, oh, hi, everybody, let's all introduce ourselves and share our business cards. Be the one to do it, right? Be the one. Be the ambassador of great networking. And just keep in mind, it's not about you when you're networking. It's all about them. What can you do for them? How can you help them? There's no quicker way to get a lead than to give one. I give somebody a lead, the next thing I know, they're trying to give me a lead. Of course. It's the law of reciprocity. Everybody wants to help somebody who helped them. Well, maybe not everybody, but most people. So think about what can you do for them. I always think, wow, my brain goes 100 miles an hour. Who can I connect that person with? Oh, you need to meet so-and-so. I'm going to introduce you to them. I'll connect up with you in LinkedIn and then I'll send you so-and-so's profile. So be thinking about what you can do for them. And don't think about yourself, because you know what? It'll come. It'll come. You don't have to worry about that part. If you think about them, focus on them, how can you help them? It'll come back to you 100% every time. Need I say more? But if someone does ask you, what do? You better be ready. Because if somebody says, oh, here's a popular one. What do? I'm a realtor. Really, in this market? It's amazing you're still standing. I mean, what do you want them to say, right? I'm a realtor. How about instead, when somebody says to a realtor, what do? That you would say something like, I help first-time home buyers find their dream home. And in this market, it's possible. And then somebody might say, how do you do that, right? So your job is to prepare a great answer to what do you do, so that somebody will say, how do you do that? And you might have to prepare a different answer depending on what group you're with. So if I'm with a group of mothers of the brides, I might say, I help you keep your hair. Right? What mother of the bride hasn't tried to pull her hair out? So they'll be like, really? How do you do that? I'm not a hairdresser, I'm a wedding planner. So, and if you're not, if you don't feel as humorous as that, that's okay. Figure out something else to say. But don't say, I'm a wedding planner. You could sneak that in there somewhere, but it can't be the main thing that you say. Another way to help people understand what you do is to tell the customer stories. So have some, instead of, well, I help companies increase sales. I'm really good at that. What I do is I do sales training and consulting and I do coaching. No. The other day I was working with a small printing firm. They were having trouble keeping salespeople. In fact, they had been through 3 salespeople in the last 6 months. Getting a bad reputation, nobody's going to go work for that company after a while. So they came to me and asked me, what's going on? Why can't we keep a salesperson? So I took a look at what they were doing, how they were hiring, how they were training, took a look at some of the other issues inside how people relate to the salespeople at their company, and I was able to help them build a sales culture that allowed them to hire, train, and maintain a salesperson for a long period of time. Have a success story. That didn't even take me a full minute to tell that. Have a success story ready. Now, we're at an event. We don't want to get stuck. This person, like you said, oh my gosh, what do I do? This person's chewing my ear off. All right, you've got to move on, but before you do, here's what you do. You say, it's been nice to meet you. So good to talk with you. Tell me, what kind of leads are you looking for? Stops them in their tracks. They stop blah, 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 and they start to think for a second, well, realtors say this a lot of time. I'm picking on realtors today. I shouldn't. My husband is one. They say, anybody who wants to buy a home. Well, okay, that's pretty broad. I don't really know how to help you with that. But if you say, I'm looking for first-time home buyers who are having trouble getting financing. Oh, I can think of a whole bunch of those. As specific as you can be, that will help people give you leads. But anyway, they're thinking, you say, oh, what kind of leads? And then they'll tell you, and then you get to say, oh, and I'm looking for. Have a good time at the event, and you can dash right off, right? So that's how you can get away from these people who are doing that. Oh my gosh, it's been so nice talking to you. Tell me, what kind of leads are you looking for? Leads? Okay. So that's what you do. Now remember I said we were here so that we could get results. That's the most important thing, because even if we did all of those things while we were networking, we prepared, we had our business cards, we looked like $1 million, we started conversations by talking about them, did all these great things, got introduced, everything. But if you don't follow up, the time you spend networking is absolutely a waste of time. So, schedule your follow-up meetings. You have time to do it now because you put it on your calendar before you left for the event. You have time to pick up the phone and call people and say, oh, it was so nice to meet you at that event. I'd love to take you to lunch, or come over and get a tour of your facility, or take you to coffee, whatever it is. You'll have time to do it. If you promise something, make sure you send it. I hate it when I have to track people down. Remember you said you were going to send me that article on? Oh, yeah, I did say that. So be ready. Write it on their business card so you don't forget when you get back to the office and you know what to send them. Handwritten notes are still really nice. I love getting a handwritten note. In fact, I got one from Samantha. Where is she? I got one from Samantha the other day. We did an event at her facility, The Grove. It was lovely. And she sent me a handwritten thank you note. It means a lot. Somebody took a little extra time. I mean, I can dash an email off like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. An email thank you is fine too. Or a nice to meet you by email sign, but boy, a handwritten note, oh. And then the social networking, of course. Now I've met all of you. I'll tell you, less than 10% of you will actually connect with me on social media. I know that for a fact because I do this all the time. But you are all welcome as long as you do what? Tell me how I met you. I met you at Weddings of the West. So what do we have to do? We have to put it all together so we can use it. And if I have given you some ideas here that you would like to learn more about, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that just at the end. Find the right people. Are they CPAs? Are they mothers of the bride? Are they small business owners? Who are these people? Are they large business owners? Are they HR people? Find the right people. Prepare. Don't just run out without your business cards. Build relationships. Don't try to sell. And do the follow-up that it takes to get the results that you need. And one more thing. I want you to practice it because it doesn't come natural to a lot of you. It won't just roll off your tongue what you do. You need to write down the answer to what do you do. And you need to say it to yourself in the mirror several times. It's just like you're in a play. We practice our lines so that we are able to be completely natural. Questions? Wow. Okay, Samantha. I think there's lots of great ways to give referrals, but a warm referral. Don't just, send somebody, here is Samantha's information, call her. If I do it by email, I write, hi, I'd like you two wonderful people to know each other. Here's why. I think there's some synergies in your business. Get together, and then I attach their business cards to that email and send it off. Sometimes on social media, on LinkedIn, it's so easy, or on Facebook, send a profile to somebody. It's easier on LinkedIn than it is on Facebook because you can't send a note with it. On LinkedIn, you can send a note. So I'll say, hey, Kathy, I wanted you to meet Daisy. Here's her profile. I hope you two will get together. And I tell them why and what. And sometimes, if it's really important, I say, let's all go to coffee together, or let's all meet over at my facility together, or let's go do lunch together, and I make an in-person introduction. So it just depends. Just depends. I think all of those are good ways. Any other questions?
This was all great.
So I have another question for you. I started with a question. I'm going to end with a question. What will you do differently as a result of the information you learned today? And I just want you to think about that for a second. What's one thing, maybe two, that you're going to do differently, and I want you to turn to your neighbor and tell them. Go. Okay, raise your hand and share a couple of those things with me. What, a couple of things you heard that people are going to do differently. Yes?
Follow up.
Oh. All right, what else? Yes?
I got a great idea from Cindy here. She writes on the back of her cards little notes so she remembers where she met
So bring a pen and write on the back of the card. Yeah, another thing that I do is when I get back from an event, I take a rubber band and I put it around that stack of cards and I put a Post-it note on it that says, met them at Weddings of the West. And I put the date on it. So that way when somebody besides me is entering those business cards, they put it in the notes section where I met them, when I met them. And then when I'm going through them, I can, I meet a lot of people. So it's a really good way to do it. Thank you for sharing that. What other things are you going to do differently? You probably won't have that many. I usually say follow up with the 5 to 6 of the people, but I do this. Referral, collaborator, potential lead for business. And I just kind of put 3 piles, and I see what comes out of that. And then I decide which ones are more urgent, hotter leads, things like that. And then if I have maybe a lot of cards like here, I might go try to connect with people on LinkedIn and Facebook, but not necessarily meet with them in person or send a nice to meet you note to all of them. So yeah, I sort of do. If I have a lot, I do what I can to get to everybody. Maybe I'll send an email out to everybody I met, just, asking them if they want to, read my blog or have a free ebook or something. But then I pick a few, just pick a few that you think are going to be the best. And I see that my time is almost up. So I want you all to think about what you're going to do differently. If you do need more help with sales, I have some handouts here with some special offers just for Wedding of the West on them. I'd be happy to help any of you. And I want you to think about this. Stop wasting your networking time. Make it count. Get the sales you need. Get connected. It's been a pleasure.